can't see beyond this. Oh, yes, Senator Laura. I thought I saw you come in, but I couldn't see you behind the poster. Thank you. We have item 11, SCA 1.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
We're going to go until 11:30 and then break for lunch and go back to 1:30. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Since its founding, the University of California has sought to provide a world-class, affordable education for all Californians. The UC has served as a social and economic catalyst for over 100 years, educating thousands and producing some of the most cutting-edge research and innovations in the world. In 1879, voters granted the UC autonomy and limited legislative oversight, despite the significant amount of state funding the university receives. This constitutional amendment doesn't repeal any of the oversight in any way. Currently, Board of Regents are appointed to serve 12-year terms, and SCA 1 will give the legislature the opportunity to increase communication with the University of California by revising the terms of the regents to 4 years and providing that no member may serve longer than 16 years. The UC will still maintain the same academic independence it has enjoyed since its inception. The Senate's confirmation process is one of the few oversight mechanisms that we all agree fosters communication between the legislature, the public, and the UC Board of Regents. This is consistent with legislators' terms and a student's educational career. Currently, some regents have served for over 20 years, and their service should be commended. However, their lengthy term disincentivizes dialogue with the public and the legislature. SCA 1 gives an opportunity to reevaluate board members' records, goals, and performance, and give the public and the Senate an opportunity to weigh in by requiring Senate reconfirmation every 4 years for UC regents up until they reach their 16-year term limits. This gives us members, the current legislature, an opportunity to weigh in, and also the current student body to also evaluate regents' performance. We can all agree that greater dialogue between the legislature, the public, and the UC is needed. These terms will enable us to engage more often and work together towards our common goals. If the UC is going to retain its reputation and continue to lead globally, we need to work collaboratively with the UC, its students, professors, and employees. SCA 1 will allow voters to establish appropriate term limits for the UC Board of Regents and give the legislature and the public the opportunity to be more involved in the functions of the university. The UC will still maintain the same academic independence it has enjoyed, once again, since its inception. Finally, this will give the UC the oversight and transparency it needs to be accountable to Californians. It is paramount that the University of California continues to be the university for California. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Those in support of the bill? Those in support? Okay, in opposition to the bill?
Madam Chair, members, Nadia Leal Carrillo with the University of California. The university does not have a position at this time. Our Board of Regents are in the process of reviewing the bill language, and we look forward to following up with the author at that point. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from members? Senator Mendoza.
I just want to thank the author for bringing this forward. I think this is a well-needed measure. It's long overdue, and look forward to supporting it as you get through. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? The bill has been moved. Senator Laura, I find this very provocative, and it's counter to actually the Constitution governing the University of California, because you're introducing a governance issue, and I worry about the politics of it. And we know what term limits has done to lots of institutions, including this one. And so I'm not sure how to come down on this, but I do know and I appreciate, the frustration that many of us have over, a perceived independence of this organization, of this very important body, and the need for legislators, et cetera, to influence the institution. But I worry about the I mean, it is a political institution, yet, you know, governance is not part of it's been spelled out, et cetera, and there has been movements to curtail the length of terms for a regent, et cetera. But I am concerned about it, so.
If you allow me to respond.
Absolutely.
Would love to, and I appreciate you taking the time to really think about the importance of this measure. Members, you know, in my opinion is, I think term limits has actually done a good thing because, first of all, we were all here because of the product of term limits, but it's helped to diversify the legislature in a way that it hasn't done in the past. And this is not a constitutional amendment that seeks to punish the UC in any way. You know, we know that they're working and that there has been some issues around different functions of the UC, but this really focuses on us being able to continue to have a dialogue with the UC. The fact is that some of the regents have been there for more than 20 years. Where's an opportunity for the Senate to be able to continue to have this dialogue as a legislature beyond just the leadership of the House? And so we're not saying we're not saying this is a way to punish the regents. This is another way to continue to us to have a dialogue with them, to bring them back for a reconfirmation so that we can actually be able to assess as legislators, just like we are accountable to the voters every 4 years. And I'm open to having that dialogue about, is 4 years appropriate? Is 16 years appropriate? But I think we need to have a conversation about how do we bring the regents back to the legislature so that we can either give them a rousing approval or have a conversation about how we want them to continue to improve the university system that we're all committed to ensuring remains the best in the country and in the world. And so I think it's time for us to, and you know, the issue of governance is important because we as voters gave them the autonomy. This is going to, again, give the voters an opportunity for them to see if this is an appropriate term limit for them as well. Given now the new dynamics, you know, they were granted this autonomy in 1876. You could agree that things have changed a lot since then. And so I feel it's an important thing to do. We're not casting any shadow of a doubt on the UC whatsoever, but we think it's an appropriate conversation for us to have in terms of how do we increase communication with our regions, given that there's so much more complexities that they are facing. And so I think it's an appropriate measure, and I would respectfully ask for your aye vote, Madam Chair. But I really appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you very much. The bill has been moved. And no other comment? We're ready for roll call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is item 11, SCA 1. The motion is due pass to elections and constitutional amendments. Lou?
Not voting.
Block? Hancock? Huff? Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Monning? Pan? Vidak? Aye. Vidak, aye. That's 3.
3, we'll leave the roll open for our absent members.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members. Appreciate
Thank you very much. Okay, Senator Leyva, you're up. You have item 8, SB 1309.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. I am happy to be here today to present SB 1309 to you. I would like to begin by accepting the amendments outlined in the analysis and thank the stakeholders and committee staff for working with me on this important issue. SB 1309 would ensure that students who are suspended from a county office of education operated school have a fair expulsion hearing and the opportunity to appeal the expulsion decision. Current state law establishes a very specific process for school districts that are seeking to expel a student. This process includes timelines for when hearings must be held and decisions made, requirements for confidentiality and record keeping, and allows for an appeal of an expulsion decision. Once a student is referred for expulsion, the overseeing school board must have a hearing on the expulsion and then decide whether or not to expel the student. When a student is expelled from a school district, he or she is often required to attend a county office of education operated school, such as a county community school, a juvenile academy, or a community day school. Should the student decide to appeal the school board's expulsion decision, the appeal goes to the county board for a hearing and a decision. In this process, the referral for expulsion, the decision on expulsion, and the appeal are all decided by separate and distinct entities, which ensures that students receive their due process in a fair manner. Despite the existence of a detailed process for handling student expulsions at the school district level, current law remains silent on how expulsions should be handled by County Office of Education operated schools. There's no requirement in current law for a county office of education to hold an expulsion hearing or to have an appeals hearing following an expulsion. Furthermore, even if there is an appeal, the situation could arise where the county board hears and decides on both the expulsion and the appeal. This lack of clarity does not ensure that students have proper due process when going through expulsion proceedings. SB 1309 would make sure that a fair process is in place so that the rights of the student are protected. This bill has no opposition that I am aware of, and I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. In support of the bill?
Madam Chair, members, Jeff Vaca, representing the Riverside County Superintendent of Schools. Not quite support, more of a tweener, but I did want to acknowledge and thank both your staff and Senator Leva's staff for working with us on some issues that we had with the previous version of the bill. We believe the amendments that have been accepted and are described in your analysis create a reasonable structure that will work for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Others in support or tweeners?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Christina Marcellus with the County Superintendents Association. We'd like to align ourselves with those of the comments of Riverside County Office of Ed. With the amendments, we will be recommending support of the bill, and we expect to have that position next week. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Good. Any others in support? Is there any opposition to the bill? We didn't receive any opposition, and you've accepted the amendments.
Correct?
Correct. Okay. Any other conversation from members? I'll entertain a motion. Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing this forward to us today, and we will be supportive of the bill.
Thank you.
Okay, this is item 8, SB 1309. The motion is due pass as amended to appropriations. Lou?
Aye.
Lou, aye. Block? Hancock? Huff? Leyva?
Aye.
Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Monning? Pan? Vidak? Aye. Vidak, aye. That's 4.
4, okay. We're in search of other members. I will leave the roll open for our absent members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members.
Very much. Okay, so we have just 3 more bills left, and I'd love to have some authors in here because we'd like to, we don't want to come back at 3 o'clock, right? Really? Okay, so we will, are you going to do runner's bill? No. Okay, we will recess for 5 minutes. Give our authors an opportunity to come back. We'll just wait.
Bates staff Bates is on her way. Bates is on her way. Staff's right there.
Thank you. Ms. Bates, you have item 7, SB 1249. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a good morning. I know that we've moved past good morning, and sorry I'm a bit late. I was on the other side of the building. But Senate Bill 1249 repeals the recently enacted school district reserve cap, which currently limits the amount of money school districts can save for emergencies and other priorities. The arbitrary cap set forth in SB 858 in 2014 has created problems for school districts throughout the state. For example, school districts are paying higher interest rate on bonded indebtedness, which results in taxpayers paying more and schools having less money for instruction and programs such as career technical education. Most school districts in California are required to maintain a minimum level of fiscal reserves for economic uncertainties of 3%. Smaller districts are required to have more than 3%, while larger school districts in some instances are required to have less. Reserve levels are determined by governing boards to meet local priorities and allow our school districts to save for potential future expected and unexpected expenditures. Funds for crucial services such as classroom materials, technology, major textbook and instructional materials, school construction projects, deferred maintenance, et cetera, require successful and ongoing cash flow management and disciplined planning. Districts of all sizes, levels of wealth, student and community makeup, have incredibly different needs that cannot be addressed by an arbitrary one-size-fits-all cap. SB 1249 will allow for sound fiscal management in individual school districts in planning for unknowns in the future. I have with me Terry Burns with the California School Board Association and Teresa Stanley, a board member from the Folsom Cordova Unified School District, to testify in support of SB 1249. Additionally, the measure is supported by CalTax, California Association of School Business Officials, the Association of California School Administrators, Riverside County Superintendent of Schools, and Kings Canyon Unified School District.
Thank you. In support of the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Terry Burns, on behalf of the California School Boards Association. And besides preparing students to be college and career ready, the responsibility of school board members is to be fiscally responsible. We have a fiduciary duty in that regard, which involves being prepared for unexpected events. The LAO and others have been making predictions that finances for the state will be flat for the next 3 years, and yet school districts are facing increased costs for retirement, for utilities, for step and column. We need to be prepared for that. The districts who stayed out of financial distress when the state reduced our funding by 20% were those districts who had sufficient reserves. A 1% reserve is about a week's worth of cash flow for a school district. So we really do need to be prepared for those things. We need to take this action now rather than wait until the reserves are already drawn down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Stanley. I'm a trustee of the Folsom Cordova Unified School District. I wanted to explain some of the practical effects on a district such as ours. We average between 12 and 18% in reserves and would be limited to 6%, which is a major decrease. A lot of the savings that we have is to provide things like Common Core, one-to-one technology that requires a plan over a certain number of years. We have to save up to get the one-to-one technology. Reducing that would adversely affect primarily the targeted groups that we're trying to help out with this one-to-one technology, such as our English language learners and our low-income students. Our textbook adoptions cost $3 million in our district, which is 2.5%. In addition to that, we have to also purchase replacement text and supplemental text, in particular, again, for our English language learners. If we're forced to go to 6%, we could do one adoption, but without any book replacements or supplements. We set aside money to replace buses as they age out. There's an assembly bill that is moving forward that is going to require districts to provide transportation for all Title I students. If we don't have the resources to continue to handle our buses as they age out, again, it's going to hit our most disadvantaged students. There's a cash flow issue, not just with the state deferrals, but the federal government causes issues for school districts by not having consistent funding. We regularly need to tap into reserves to meet our cash flow needs. If we're required to get an interest-bearing loan, this creates an interest cost and a general fund cost. In our district, 1 month's payroll is approximately 8%. So a 6% reserve would take us through about 3 weeks before we'd be insolvent. I'm asking the committee to support this bill.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Jeff Vaca, representing the Riverside County Superintendent of Schools. We've had a lot of conversations and discussions about this issue for the last 2 years. I'm not sure there's a lot of new information to add at this point. I did want to share with the committee, though, that each year in Senator Block's subcommittee, there's a report from the Fiscal Crisis Management and Assistance Team on the fiscal condition of school districts. This year, Joel Montero and Mike Fine, when they testified before the subcommittee, were asked about the district reserve issue. And they made a couple of points that I thought were worth sharing. One is that the level of school district reserves is coming down on the natural, which is something that was anticipated as we were moving out of the recession. The second thing that they testified to is that it was through reserves that school districts managed to survive the recession and to avoid many of the terrible cuts that a lot of local education agencies had to endure during that time. They also indicated that having the school district reserve cap in place would be a much more difficult issue for smaller school districts. And then finally, they said that if we do see the caps triggered, and we all recognize that they have not been triggered at this juncture, it will be of concern, not just to small school districts, but to all school districts. So we continue to believe that it is bad policy to have this in statute, and so we support the Senate Bill 1249 to repeal the caps. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Martha Alpers. I'm with the Association of California School Administrators. In the interest of time, I'll just allow my comments to the previous speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, others in support of the bill?
Elizabeth Munguia with the California Association of School Business Officials in support.
Thank you. Any others in support? Is there any opposition to the bill? Oh. No, they're not. Okay. Hi.
Thank you, Madam Chair and the committee. My name is Estelle Lemieux. I'm here representing the California Teachers Association. We oppose this measure. At the same time, what I'm going to do is defer my time to the teachers who can tell you their stories on how they were impacted during the economic downturn and the reserves that were or weren't used to help out with the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jody Dayberry. I'm from Lake Tahoe Unified School District. I'm a kindergarten teacher. We are a rural and small school district. I'm here to speak in opposition of SB 1249, and I want to tell you my story of my school district. Working collaboratively with the district, with our superintendent, and with our school board, we were able to stave off the drastic and severe cuts to our programs. My association was part of the decision-making, an integral part of the decision-making, always keeping the best interest of our students at hand. we were able to preserve vital programs, including class size reduction, physical education, music, theater, arts. We kept libraries open. We had before and after school programs that were able to sustain. And we too were able to move into the 21st century in technology, continuing to build a state-of-the-art district, growing programs like career tech education. We were able to do this by working together. We were able to do it through attrition of staff, being able to offer retirement incentives, and as an association, not going to the district and asking for salary increases. Our district did spend down their reserves. Our assigned and unassigned reserves did go down below the 3% which the state allowed. And yes, it was scary at times. However, we did not have to go through layoffs of teachers and other valuable support staff. As an association, we took 1 day off our calendar year, one time, because we knew it was in the best interest of our students to have them in our classrooms and learning. The voters of California already rejected the same arguments in this bill when they voted for Proposition 2, the Rainy Day Fund. Quite honestly, I think it's shameful that so many districts during the economic downturn were building their reserves, much more than the 3%, up to 4-5 times some of these districts. Many small ones, 30 to 40% above what was required by the state during these times. Those districts did it on the backs of their students and the backs of their educators. Recently, the LAO has stated that it's highly unlikely that the Rainy Day Fund will be triggered during the 2016-17 fiscal year. During the recession in California, exactly 0 districts went into state receivership because they were not able to fill their financial obligations. And in closing, I'd like to refer to school services, which administration and superintendents use. During 2013-14, the average unrestricted general fund plus Fund 17 grew. In unified districts, it was almost 4 times, 13%. In elementary districts, up to 21% average, and in high school districts, 16.8%. And I state, and I quote, now with a recovering economy, local school agencies are receiving higher revenues, including significant one-time funds to buy those textbooks, one-time funds to get in compliance with Common Core. Because of this, and the fact that spending supplemental and concentration grants funds within 1 year can be very challenging, we expect levels to increase as the books are closed on 2014-15. As an instructor, ask any one of us how to help them meet the challenge of spending the money on our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in opposition to the bill?
Christopher Prokop, 7th grade English teacher, Cajon Valley Union School District, 16,000 students, 68% unduplicated pupil count. In the late 2000s in Cajon Valley, our district came to us with a 20% reserve. With the dire financial predictions, they asked our association to take pay cuts and furlough days, not wanting to work for a business that goes out of business. We complied, took 2% pay cut for 2 years, cut our school year 2 days for 2 years. Fast forward 3 years, our district had a 29% reserve, and they built every bit of that on the back of their teachers and those kids who lost those days. Worse than that, they lost the trust and the faith of their certificated staff, and it took 5 years to get it back. I am strongly opposed to this bill.
Michelle Padron, first grade dual language teacher, Oxnard School District. And I didn't really have any prepared remarks, but in our district during the recession, our bargaining members were surveyed and asked, because they were asking us for furlough days. So they asked us what we wanted, what our choices were, and we came back and increased our class sizes so that our kindergartens, all our primary grades went up to 30. And during that time I was teaching kindergarten, I had 30. And our upper grades went to 36. And they remained that way until this past year. And because of that, we did not have to have any furlough days, but we did have teacher layoffs, and it was incredibly disruptive throughout our district. So I could personally urge a no vote on this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Carla Zazula. I teach in Lake Tahoe Unified School District. I teach high school biology, AP biology, and I would like to say two things. One, please be respectful of the voters of California who voted on Prop 2. And please know that I work in the same district as Ms. Dayberry, and we saw the mandates that are already required by the state for reserves work beautifully. And so I would ask you to oppose. I stand in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Shantaine Fauntleroy, and I teach in a Hayward Unified School District, and I'm asking you to oppose this bill, and mainly because in the Hayward Unified School District, we had plenty of money in the reserve during the economic downturn, but we were still asked to give, and our teachers gave 2 furlough days the first year, and then the second year, we gave 4 furlough days. They were not willing to use that reserve that they had for a rainy day. And also we gave up class size reduction, which brought the K through 3rd classes up to 30, and we also gave up our music program in elementary for 2 years.
My name is Deborah Boehm. I teach in Alfred Unified School District, which is in Riverside and part of Corona. During the height of the recession, teachers were laid off. We took 10 furlough days, and my class size rose to 43 students, while the district continued to build the reserve for I don't know what. It didn't go into my classroom. My students went out without supplies and without 10 days of school. I strongly oppose this bill.
My name is Fola Odebomi. I teach in North Orange County Community College District, specifically Cypress College. My district actually, just builds up reserves. During the Great Recession, the reserve was increasing. Right now, my district has over 50 million in their reserves, and currently we're losing instructors because the benefits and salaries are not comparable to we're the least in the whole comparable district in Orange County. So I really strongly oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, my name is Michael Holsey. I teach at Dana Hills High School in Senate District 36. I strongly oppose this bill. I am one of a number of teachers who took, in my own district, 12% of pay cuts willingly to keep our district financially solvent, and we will so again as conditions arise where our district becomes insolvent. As a teacher, our biggest goal is to keep the lights on and to keep educating our students.
Madam Chair, members, Steve Henderson, representing the California School Employees Association. Certainly my members would align themselves with the comments of the previous speakers. We think that the process that is currently in place provides a wide berth and allows school districts, if in fact the trigger does get pulled, which we think is highly unlikely, the opportunity to go to the County Office of Education and get a waiver. The other thing that I'd like to mention that I don't think has been mentioned before in this conversation is, while there is a cap on the assigned and the unassigned reserves, there is no cap on the committed reserves. So if the district felt the need to increase their reserves to whatever level they thought they needed to increase them to, they could agendize that item. It could go before the board. They could vote to raise their reserves for that particular item. And we would argue that it is a more transparent process than is currently in place. CSEA is opposed to this bill.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Ron Rapp, representing the California Federation of Teachers, speaking in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any others opposed to the bill? Any comments from members? Concerns? The bill has been moved. Well, you've read the committee's analysis, Senator Bates, and I think that I think we're still at this impasse here, and I would like to really hold the bill, but the bill has been moved, so we'll just see what happens to it. Okay. Do you have any closing?
Thank you. I would just like to have a moment. I actually like to ask the school board member to respond to some of the comments. And let me just add that during the recession, I was a member of the Orange County Board of Supervisors. We suffered some of the same issues that we've heard from our teachers. And, you know, I don't think any of us want to see our teachers put in those precarious situations. We had to take a pay cut. We had to do layoffs by attrition, did everything possible to ensure that our employees were taken care of. But the reserve issue is a huge one in terms of maintaining the fiscal integrity of your budget. And we did not, to a very small degree, let me say, use reserves to shore that up. We did many of the things that you heard our teachers present here, because when you lower your bond rating, you have significant issues. And I think that in the analysis, LAO's comments are probably the most compelling for taking a look at repealing the cap. I won't repeat those because they're in your analysis, but they're talking about the risks, and those are huge if we go into another one of those deep dives on our financial stability in the state, and that will be something quite draconian in terms of whether we can keep even our schools open if we find that they have many of the environmental impacts, because our schools are aging. So those are things to be considered in terms of allowing the locals to have the discretion on what reserves they need to meet the needs of the teachers, the needs of the students, and certainly what the institution itself requires in terms of maintaining public health and safety within those.
Thank you.
And just briefly, Terry Burns, California School Boards Association. Again, there's a difference between one-time funding and ongoing funding. And when we talk about salaries, those are things we have to plan for in years out. Reserves are one-time funding. Once they're spent, they're spent. We can't plan on spending them next month if we've spent them this month. There are a number of opportunities for school districts to talk about spending those funds, but if they are not, Mr. Henderson talked about committed funds. Those funds disappear from the books. Those are considered gone. So if you want sincere transparency, you need to be able to see that those funds are there. We have no objection to saying we're going to assign those funds, but to just have them disappear, we think reduces transparency.
Okay. I just asked for the aye vote in closing, and certainly understand the concerns expressed by both sides.
Thank you, Senator Bates. Appreciate that. Okay, the bill has been moved. Please call the roll.
This is item 7, SB 1249. The motion is due pass to budget and fiscal review. Liu?
No.
Liu, no. Block? Hancock? Huff?
Aye.
Huff, aye. Leyva? Leyva, no. Mendoza? Monning? Pan? Vidak.
Aye.
Vidak, aye. That's 2-2.
Okay, it's 2-2, and we'll keep the roll open for our absent members. Thank you very much. All right. So, Senator Huff, you have item 6, and are you doing item 12?
Yeah, if I could lead with that.
Sure.